This is Josh Woody with Oklahoma Chiller. Today we're going to be starting the retrofit process on chiller number 1. We're going to go ahead and start by getting the barrels drained and getting all the refrigerant pulled out of it so we can get the lines disconnected from the old VSD. There's a before with all the old controls. We don't have this open yet. The power has been locked out to it already. We took the cover off. We looked down in here, we could see these boards coming apart. You can see the whole VFD. Okay, we got our barrels drained. We're in the process of pulling our liquid refrigerant out right now. We do have a leaking evaporator valve for our barrel, so we are still trickling a little water out of that. We're going to go ahead and just leave the hose hooked up to it and let it drain while we're pulling refrigerant out. We'll get all the liquid out and then we'll leave it pulling vapor tonight, and then we'll be back tomorrow to start taking apart the cooling circuit for the VFD. All right, we got all of our sensor wire disconnected from here. We haven't disconnected any starter wiring. We're going to kind of wait and see what the new system looks like. So we got a couple wires that are going to need unhooked, but everything else as far as sensors is unhooked at this time. Okay, we got our coolant lines for our old VFD. We got caps. We got a cap here and another cap that we welded in place right here for both our lines. Everything's cut off. We're going to go ahead and start disassembling our VFD and get it removed from the cabinet. We've already got all of our wires unhooked from our control panel. We're going to go ahead and get that removed too, and then we'll be ready to start setting all the new stuff in place and connecting everything at this time. Okay, we got all of our doors off. We got our control panel off, our output filter out. We're going to go ahead and get all these bars, crossbars disconnected, get everything disconnected off our VFD, get it pulled out, and get our transformer pulled out. All right, we got all of our pressure switches installed, got our oil sump, our oil differential, condenser and evaporator pressure switches. We went ahead and put the system on a vacuum. That way we can go ahead and get it charged up while we're running all the wiring and connecting everything for the starters. All right, we got our new reactor installed. We had to take the brackets of the old mount, turn them sideways. We got everything secured in place for it so we can start figuring out how we need to connect the wires. Next, we're gonna go ahead and get our VFD put in, see how it's gonna mount up, and see if we need to move these brackets as well, and then see what wiring we can use from the old system and what we're gonna have to get new. All right, so we did valve out our chiller at about 465 at about 7 this morning. It's only came up about 60, 70 microns so far. We're gonna go ahead and just leave it overnight. When we get back in the morning, we'll go ahead and start charging it back up. All right, so we only came up 100 microns in a little over 24 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and get the refrigerant put back in the system at this time. All right, so while the system's charging up, we had to redo the wiring for our actuators over here. So the normal relays that are used are 1 and 2. That's for actuator number 2, like it says in the diagram. We ended up having 2 spare relays, 9 and 10, that we wired in for 1. Ran our wires down to our compressor relay down here on our board. So both actuators are wired up at this time. All right, so we got both vanes in place and calibrated. We got our temporary power hooked up to our screen. See, we're all lit up. We're gonna go ahead, what we decided to do was go ahead and cut this square out that's marked right here to run our wires over to our VFD. So we're gonna go ahead and get our reactor pulled out, and then we will get the saw out and get that cut. That way we have room to run our wires. We got our communication ran from our 485 over here to our VFD. This is where our control power will come from. We still have to wire in our control back to our transformer. We got everything on the purge wired up and secured. So tomorrow we will go ahead and run our control voltage wiring across and figure out how to wire in our old VFD fans in our reactor cabinet right here so we can run these to keep our reactor cool. All right, we got our bus bars hooked up coming off of our main disconnect. We also got our lines coming out of our reactor connected to our line side of our VFD. All we need to do is run our motor lines up to our motor, get everything connected there. We got 4 connectors left. We're going to go ahead and see if we can get at least one leg done tonight, and then we'll be back to do the rest tomorrow. All right, we got all of our motor wires hooked up. Got our amp donuts on all the way up to our motor. We also got our wire ran over for our fans from our compressor enable relay hooked into our terminal block right here, so it'll run these fans when the drive kicks on and the compressor starts. All right, we got our other 200 pounds of refrigerant put in our system. She's been running for about 4 hours probably. Everything shows to be running normally at this time. Finished up with the Chiller 1 retrofit over here. Got all the panels back on. Everything shows to be operating normally at this time. Our new VFD, got all of our wiring secured. Got our purge cover back on. Everything shows to be operating normally at this time.